Welcome and welcome back to the whole bucket and some more. How do you do art? So through the month of May, the How Do You Do Art group is doing masterboards. And in my first masterboard video, I talked about how I'd like to do something that is super thin and making it then foldable and layerable and not too big for putting in journals. So I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to try out and see if I can do something cool, ultra thin version. So here's what I've collected. Here is some napkins I have assorted into a set. I bought these from Lindy at Lindy K and Sean Designs because they had a big napkin day, and I put these together in groups, and as you can tell, this one is sunflowers. Here is my tea-dyed base. I am in fact going to try tissue paper. So no, not tissue, tracing paper. So here is my tea-dyed tracing paper. And then I brought out 3 pieces of mulberry paper to sort of add to the mix. So the first thing I need to do is separate napkins. And I don't know that I will stay recording for the whole thing because that sounds kind of silly to have you just watch me separate napkins. But if I managed to do it quickly, I can answer a question or two, which is also part of May How Do You Do Art group, is the list of questions that we put together so that people can get to know us better. We can get to know each other better. You guys can get to know who we are better. All that jazz. All that jazz. Except, if you hear my muchly shuffling, my much shuffling is because I can't find my list of questions. I'm absolutely certain I set it aside over there. So that I could see it and take it back out when I want it, and it's not right there anymore. So I hid it on myself, apparently. Huh. Well, that is less than ideal. Okay, let's get busy. Hold on. Huh. I pause you after all. I'll be right back and tell you why. Hold on. Okay, so I split up the napkins, and still can't find the questions. So we're gonna wing it. So the thing you get to learn about me today is the reason I had to pause the video. I guess. Why not? So a lot of you already know that I have cats because they make their appearances in all kinds of videos. What you don't know is there's a cat number 4 who lives upstairs. And you have never seen her face. And she's a tiny little thing. And she decided to go outside today. And the reason I had to pause the video is because I heard her scratching and crying at the door. She is not as well versed at outsiding as her brothers and sister are. So I heard her at the door panicking. What have I done? Okay, so I only had one of this particular napkin, so I cut it in half and just took half of it. Same with, no, not same with this. This is 1/2 of a napkin, but I had a few of these, but they're bumblebee napkins and I need them for something else. However, this was a beautiful orange yellow color. So I stole half of each of those napkins for projects. Then we had plenty of this one. This still feels really thick. I'm going to see if this has yet another layer. Let's find out. It does. Look at that. I knew it still felt thick. So let's go ahead and get that off. I'm keeping most of these layers, and look, some of them have ghost images on them. Ooh, I love ghost images. I had plenty of this one, 2 of them. They're huge and they're all the same, so I just kept a whole one of that. And this is just stripes of the brown textured kind of thing that was in the background of these guys, because I think that these fussy cut or on pockets or something will go fabulous with this kit of that I'm making, obviously. But I don't want to put the trucks on the masterboard. I want those to be a fussy cut kind of thing. All right, so let's get started. There's our piece, and I'll just put these in kind of different spots around me. And let's get out. I bet that giant glue stick over there is the one that I can't open. Here's the one that I'm using currently. Let's get out our giant glue stick. Oh, I might be on the verge of gluing this one shut too. Oh, look at that. Ah. Huh. Alright. Anywho, I'm going to start on the edges, but I'm just going to do this. I'm going to put some glue down. And let's start with a chunk of this, and I'm just going to hopefully line up the top edge. Nope, I failed. Attempt 1, and I didn't even get that right. I glued my thumb to the paper though, for my hand. So, some of you might already know that I am not particularly careful or graceful or even-handed, level-handed when it comes to my artful creations. So I'm going to have to be especially careful today if I'm going to be doing ultra thin masterboarding. I think I'm going to take this all the way down. Ooh, to right there. Oh, maybe. We are already glued. We are already substantially secured, but I got it. Okay, look at that. We're off to a start. We got our first piece. I think I'll just take the rest of that bit and glue it right here on the opposite corner in the other direction. Oh, whoops. Well, this is interesting, isn't it? Okay. So, get this on here just like so. There we go. All right, now let's get another section of color. The other thing I like about this is it's already got some words. It's already got a bit of a mixed media collage-y kind of feel. Whoops. Not much though, huh? Just right up there. I think I want to put that. Actually, yeah, let's put it up in that corner. So we'll get some glue up here. Ah! Whoops. Okay, there we go. And then I want this bit of text on this edge. So just get that part nice and straight. And then I will tear off. I think that's just the way this one's gonna go, is put a little bit down and tear some off. Come on. There we go. All right. Oh, where could this one go? I think we'll save this piece to go somewhere, you know, in here. It'll have to go in. Look on me. It'll have to go in a bit. So we already have this patterned one and this patterned one. We only have the two patterned ones. So let's go ahead and put a chunk of this. I think here. So I want to cover up a little bit of this and down this edge. I really don't want these white fake stitching lines though. So I think I will set this farther than I want it so I can tear off both directions. Like so. And come on. Doesn't want to tear in that direction. Isn't that just the way it goes? Whoops. Okay, rip that out. Okay, there we go. And then let's tear off this line. This might not tear off either actually though. Here, let's see if my finger blade will work. It doesn't really often work with terribly thin things. Just like there. I think I've ripped it to shreds under there. Yep, sure did. Yep, sure did. Okay. Well, I'll set that aside also then. We'll get back to that piece. Let's do a scissor bit then. Cut that off. And that. And I think I'm doing my pieces too large because now I'm not really sure what to do. And you know what? I am missing an entire napkin. Look at that! We have another patterned one. How could I forget this one? It's so pretty. I just kind of want to put that whole napkin right there. I think we should. Let's cut that off with the big scissors. Let's cut that off with the big scissor. And then see. Should we just put the whole thing in here? It's kind of ripping. I think the answer might be yes. But before we do that, I want to get a purple stripe all across the bottom like so. So let's do that right here. I want a purple stripe at the bottom. I don't know why. Also don't know how even I got that, but it'll have to do because it's done now. Let go of me. All right, let's tear this direction and this direction. And then we should get a bit of this brown as well. And let's do that one across the top. Somewhat centered, but not entirely. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful. I don't want this piece to cover up any of the super cool stuff, but I don't want it to look stupid like it's just centered in this. I mean, it would just look dumb. So I think like so-ish. And it might cover up a speck of the words, but I want it right there. And then, let's see if it's any kind of even inside the Masterboard. We'll find out in just a second here, won't we? Are you any kind of even? Not terrible. Not terrible. Oh, let's get a chunk of this green now, because that would be another good accent color. Not sure how or where though. I think I'm going to go with a really thin bit. A little even extra narrow right here. And then I think we can put another bit on elsewhere. But I think I just want this whole thing all the way down to the bottom, so even covering part of the purple. I mean, yeah, not all of the purple, but I mean that whole section. Okay, like so. Like so, I think. Okay, let's get that torn off. I am breaking my own rule about Masterboards because they're just like any other collage, really. And my rule is that I start with the biggest pieces and work my way down to the smallest. And it really just isn't the case right there, is it? I have gone rather small with this green stripe. This is all part of rules are made to be broken. Okay. I think I will go ahead and maybe put the whole piece on now. I think I'm going to put it right like that. So it'll be a little over this stuff and over this stuff. Okay, like so. I think so. I think so, like so. Got some little bit of wrinkles. That cut line up there is not very nice and tidy, but that's okay. Okay. I'm gluing it to my board. I'm gluing it to my work mat, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a thing. Okay, now let's take a couple of the set aside pieces. This one, for instance, I wanted down in this corner anyway, and now it looks pretty fabulous right there. Okay. Like so. Good job. We only have 2 more spaces we really have to fill, but we can add more if we want. So what if I add this chunk right in here? It's not exciting, but it does do what I need in as far as filling up the space. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's a neutral enough that I guess it really doesn't matter all that much. That it's not really doing much, right? Other than filling a space, but that'll just have to be its job right now. Okay, there we go. And now we need something else up here, and I'm really kind of feeling like it should be a piece of the green or the purple. I suppose it could even be the brown. No, the brown's right there already. Yeah, actually I'll do the green, and I'll show you why in just a second, because we are going to add another section of the purple. Really, it would be better if everything was in 3s, wouldn't it? We might actually do that. We might have to make it all in 3s. Because what good is collaging? What good is collaging if you don't do it right? And I think I'll take this piece horizontal again. And I'll just take it right about there. And I think we'll end it right about there. Let's see what that ends up looking like. It looks blotchy. That's how it looks, but it's fine. It's fine for now. Okay. Remember, this is really just the background. This is really just first layer. And now we need a section of purple. And I think... I thought I already had a piece. I guess I don't. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it over here. I think like so. Yep. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put a line of glue right down this edge. Get up here. Right about like that. Let's tear this down or off or something. About like that. And then it looks like the paper edge is somewhere in that region. Something like that. Oh, and it's pulling up. No, no, no. Okay. Let's cut this little tip off there. Like so. So we can see a little better what this is looking like. There we go. A sunflower masterboard. Just lovely. Like I said, I want to be able to fold and use this in a bunch of different ways, and also it will end up with bunches of other stuff on it. Layering, layering, layering. I am going to, hold on a sec. Stand up. It's okay. I'm gonna see if I can find one of my stamps that just have words on. Unfortunately for me, my box of stamps is a little bit buried at the moment because I moved them again. I moved them. All right, maybe I'll try stenciling. Do I have a script only stencil? I should have a script stencil. But again, where did I put it? That is not, what is this? Aw. I just found a Remember journal. That's super cute. Oh, there's a bunch of stencils. Alright, I'm going to come on over. Sorry, I wandered away. I hope you could hear me chattering. I guess I didn't even bother to look if my microphone was picking anything up. Maybe you just think I wandered away and wasn't coming back. So I got this whole pile of stencils off that you cannot see at the moment. But there's one full of numbers. And here's one with a couple different kinds of words. I'll use that. That'll work. Also, this is not dry. It's, if I tried to fold this and create things now, it would fall apart when I try to cut it, and it would glue itself shut if I tried to glue it. So, we're not going to do that. We are going to find some purple, though. Ah, purple. I think that might be too blue-green for my liking. In fact, I'm just going to say, yeah, that's not my goal for this. What have we got over here? Let's try this green. All right, I need a beverage. Hold on. All right, let's get some fake script on here. That's my favorite. I love fake script. And a blending brush. And let's do this one in green. And we shall see what happens. Well, maybe nothing. That seems awfully dried out. Nope, something's definitely happening. And even if it's just a hint of words, that's all it needs to be, because they aren't actual words anyway. Look at that. I think I'll do the same thing again right here. We'll do this bit in threes, right? We'll do the color and the font all in threes for this part. Okay, not too shabby. We got some more background stuff going on. Let's try the purple. And we'll do the purple in numbers. Does it go this way? Does it go this way? Goes this way. Okay. I had it upside down and backwards. Okay, I think I'm just going to put a number thingy just like that. Maybe I'll just take this thing too and go just like so. Okay, well, I need to let go because it's all sticking to itself. But that wasn't great, so we'll use the brush next time. We'll use the brush. Fine. I think I'll put some, oh, right up here. Yep. So this is actually the purple and the green I just used. This one's feeling all dried out too. I might have to throw some of my inks away. Yeah, that's not very purple. Let's, oh, I found my questions. Okay, I'm gonna just use this scratch paper. And get some new purple. See if I can make it look any better. Let me see if there's a question. So the first question I did was, why did I choose to start the How Do You Do group? What's next? Well, these aren't very interesting now that I'm looking at them. That's me for you. I just judge all the stuff I thought would be good. And now I don't think it would be good anymore. Questions other people came up with are interesting though. And they're on here too, so. So yeah, I do paper art. Can you tell? Some of the questions have to do with paper art and why paper art. And I guess, for me, I don't know why paper art other than it's extremely accessible. I know that there are other people who do paper art for much better reasons. More meaningful bits, I suppose you'd say. But I've done stuff with paper for as long as I can remember. So it was an original art form for me anyway. Because I was quite little when I would sit in my room. Oh, that's better. And do paper art. All kinds of different things. But then there's another question on the list that says, what other forms of artistic expression do you like? And I would answer that by saying kind of basically everything. Like, I don't have necessarily other ways that I put creativity into a specific thing. On the other hand, I put creativity in every single thing, which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. Like if you get over creative when you're making dinner, you don't know that it will be edible by the time you're done. So there. Also, when you put creativity into arranging your furniture, your family starts to not like you very much if you want to move the furniture too often. I might do that. Okay. Anywho, I am going to pause this video again. When we come back, I am going to have a couple of fussy cuts ready to go, and we'll turn this into some pieces. I just need to let it dry a little bit. So I'm going to go prep some things while it has time to think about what it's doing. Okay, as you can see, I have moved ahead without you. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Anyhow, I cut up the Masterboard. It used to look a lot like this. There we go. And it is mostly dry. I may regret my choices later if, you know, what we do is all glued together goofy, but, you know, so far this is fine. So here's what I did. I cut off this strip because we don't need it at the moment, but I set it over there, and we don't need this at the moment either. I'm going to turn this into a coin envelope because I like them now. They seem to be an obsession of mine. So I have it folded because I wanted this to be the main part, right? So then I'm going to fold over what will be the bottom of the envelope, like so. That's a little wider than I might usually do for a coin envelope, but you know, this is kind of do what you want to do. And then I want to take some of this top off for another purpose. So I'm going to look where I want this folded over. I know that I've mentioned that when I'm doing masterboards, I like to not look and do things on purpose because then I typically overthink, which is entirely true. But in this case, because I have these pretty sunflowers and stuff, I'm giving it a try. And I'm trying to plan nicely and at the same time don't overthink so much. We'll see. what I managed to pull off. We shall see. This is not folded properly. Okay. So when you want to make a coin envelope and you have folded and made all the creases you're going to need, then you can get rid of some pieces. For instance, down here at the bottom, there is a little rectangle on each side that can be gotten rid of altogether. And I'm going to do it at a little bit of an angle. So we want a little bit of miter starting at the edge of the paper and going to where we can cut this off completely, right there. And then the same is true on the other side. I can miter this just a smidge, like so. And then I also want the bottom to be curved. So I'm going to just chop it off right on the fold line to start with. Those pieces are gone, but then I'm going to fold it in half. Not a tight fold on the whole thing, but I'm going to join up these corners on the bottom. And I'm just going to create a curved corner and a bit of miter to this edge, like so. Now, when I have my envelope and I fold this up, it looks a little different. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's not just plain old, you know. Now, I think I'm going to move this folded down even farther because I kind of forgot about the flap part at the top, but I'm going to do the exact same thing at the top now. I'm going to create this top flap. But the first thing I'm going to do, because I want to save a bit of this, is I'm going to decide that my flap is going to be approximately the same width as a ruler. Let's see. I need to fold this better so I can see what the heck I'm doing. All right, let's get that line nice. And then I'll just put the ruler right in that little edge and use my finger blade, and hopefully this is now dry and thick enough that a finger blade will work, and it did. And then we got another little section to save. And I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. So I can ever so slightly miter to that spot right there, and then I can chop it off straight down the fold line. Same on the other side. I can ever so slightly miter to the intersection of the fold, and then go straight down. I didn't go to the right line. I went to an earlier line, so I need to catch a little bit. I need to catch on this paper. Come on, you can do it. Okay, there we go. Now for this, I'm going to do it the same as I did the bottom. Fold it loosely so these top corners meet, and then curve and miter to the intersection. Beautiful. Okay. Now we have ourselves a coin envelope. Let's actually make our coin envelope. So, first one to go down is this one, and I need glue on the edge. And then this one, I need glue on this edge, the inside edge. Very nice. Then across the bottom, because we don't need that open. So a little bit of glue there. Now this envelope is an envelope, and it's got a bottom. And you know what? I want this curve to be deeper. So let me take a look and see how much deeper. It could go a lot deeper. This little curve right here that is the opening that lets you grab stuff out. So I'm going to line up my flap and this, and not do a tight fold again, but just do a nice loose fold. And I'm going to start at the center and curve up to that intersection again, like so. Just take out a little bit of a curve, and let's see, much better, much better. And then that goes down like that. I don't know what kind of closure I'll put on this, but this, very thin, very foldable. Oh my, that won't take up much space at all. And I bet it would be really strong. So this experiment might be working out, man. It might. I'll leave that piece and this piece over there. I wonder if we can get a card for this envelope. Out of this little strip. There we go. So we're going to have to take a bit off. And we'd have to chop it on the bottom. I want to make it at least tall enough for the pocket to stick out the little divot we just made, so it's grabbable, easily grabbable. Let's see if we take it down to there, how that works. So I'm going to chop this to make a tag. And then the bottom part, if I measured this, or if I didn't measure anything. If I guessed well enough at this, I'm gonna make a vellum based pocket. I think I'm cutting off more than I need on the side, but I'm okay with that. And I'm going to trim the top because it got raggedy, but real thin trim, a real thin bit. Let go, let go, let go. There we go. Okay. There we go, just like that. Oh, it's still raggedy. I'll fix that later. It might end up getting trimmed off if I actually make this tag shaped, right? Right now it can be kind of trimmed. There we go. Alright, so this is super flimsy. I don't know what good this is for writing on. And this certainly isn't very tag weight, but you might have to do something to fix that, and then it would be a tag in there, in the envelope. Now, for this part, what I want to do, I don't know if I can. Look at, that's not going to fit. It's not wide enough. I have to think then, what if I should really use like a cardstock, but I don't want to get up and start searching for more stuff. So maybe I'll use this. And, excuse me, this. Okay, let me see what's going to happen here. So if I, if I glued down a piece of notepad paper that I tea-dyed a long time ago, come on, just sit. This is a little version of use what you have. I'm at my desk. I'm just using some stuff that I have sitting around rather than going and finding other stuff. So I apparently took a lot of these pieces of paper. I'm just going to glue it down like so, but more than one. So there's one layer on there. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on and do another layer, and that might be it. That's 3 layers of paper, and I still have at least one more that's going on here. So this turned out to be a very small Masterboard. The tracing paper that I used is not gigantic or anything. And let's see, does this fit here? It's exactly the same, and I need it wider, so I'm gonna have to go this way, and that's fairly perfect. So then this needs to go up here, tippy toppy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to put this piece right on here. I've never done this. This is weird looking, and I don't know if this is going to turn out to be anything, but I want to at least give it a try and see what happens. See what we can do. So what I'm talking about, never done this, is I've certainly made pockets before, but look at how wide the edge of this paper is and how small this little picture is. They don't look like they're going to go together very well, and that very well could be the case. I might end up hating this, because the question is now, what do I do with a matting essentially that's that wide? That's a little ridiculous. But I'm going to do it anyway, because now I'm wondering, well, what do you do if you have something that wide but you don't really like the design? But you need that size, etc. You might just start over and not be bothered with it. But what if this is what you got and you really want to make something? So I'm just going to keep plugging along and see what happens. So here is what I want to do next. I want to take a piece of vellum and basically create a double pocket situation here. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 inches wide. That's a big pocket. Do you really have to be that wide? Yeah, kinda. I can trim a little. So let's go ahead and trim a speck. Hold on. Excuse my reach, peeps. Let's go ahead and trim a little off each side, if for no other reason, at least to clean up these edges, because they're kind of a big fat mess. So let's do that. And see, this one's even more of a mess, so I'm glad I have a little wiggle room. Now, I don't think I've changed the dimensions of this too terribly much, because I just took off a hair on each end. Let's see if I've got it pretty even. Even enough. I'm not going to tempt fate anymore. I'm going to take a tiny sliver off the top. I'm not going to take a sliver off the bottom, though. It's a little raggedy, and I kind of like it that way. Okay, here we go. Oh, and of course, now there's only 5 minutes left. So I'm going to cut a piece of vellum wider than the pocket and taller than the pocket so that I can create the pocket I want. Okay, let's get rid of this for a sec. And I'll show you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to go, and then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to come back. So I'm going to put a pocket that goes part way up this other pocket and wraps around so that it creates a pocket full across, right? There's a bunch of glue seeping through. I'm curling my paper. Anyhow, I'm going to make it so that this wraps around here. Creating a nice wide secure pocket. Then we're going to decorate it with this guy. Hopefully, and create a layered situation. I'm going to pause. I'll be right back when I'm done, and we'll take a look at what we got from today's adventure. Be right back. Okay, in the last couple minutes, let me show you what I did and what I've come up with. So I made a belly band out of that strip that I saved. So there is a belly band or a page edge or something to be used in the journal. A journal. There is the pocket that I decided on, and in order to deal with this extra wide brown matte look, I doubled down on it and put a strip across the bottom on the outside of the pocket as well. So now it looks very uniform. It looks like I meant to do that all along. I made this mock-up of a card. Obviously, nothing is done on it yet, but could certainly turn this into a card for this pocket. But I wanted to show the pocket. This could be glued down so that you could put things in the side or another layer of pocket. I have to glue down these little bits. It's catching on here, so I'll have to take care of that. But there we go, a double layer pocket. That's actually kind of gorgeous. And then when you pull the card out, more gorgeousness. And the belly band. And we have the coin envelope with a card in it. There we go. There's what we ended up with from that, oh yeah, from that one Masterboard. And they're here. They're right here somewhere. I have so much stuff piled on that side of my desk. It's insane. Okay, I'll just, here's the fake signatures. My trial journal is somewhere around here, but imagine this at a page. Or what if this was a whole center situation? Let's see what it would look like. There is that one. Then this could be the belly band thingy jobber right there. And the small card could go in this super lightweight envelope. Wow. I mean, it did what I wanted it to, but holy buckets. Yeah, and then this could tuck behind the belly band. Let's try not to glue all of our pieces together since I'm not actually ready to use them, but there we go, just like that. It's already looking pretty. Okay, thanks for joining me. See you next time. Make sure you check out all the other artists and how do you do art. And see what other people are doing with their Masterboards this week. I'll be back with more. Thanks. Bye.